Welcome to Sewing Anastasia, and today we are gonna make fabric bows. I love bows, they are so cute. I love them on all my clothes, but they also make great additions to Christmas gift packages or any gift package really. And you can also put them on a hair clip and wear them in your hair. So follow along and I'm gonna show you how to make super easy bows. And at the end, I'm gonna put it on this barrette so I can show you how you can wear it in your hair. This project is great for your scrap fabric, so grab some of your scraps and let's make some bows. And then you're gonna need a few additional supplies. You're gonna need a ruler, a marking tool, and some scissors. And if you're gonna be putting it on a hair barrette, you're gonna need a hair barrette. The first thing we need to do is cut out a couple rectangles, one bigger one for the big part of the bow, and then a smaller one for the middle of the bow. Today, I'm going to be making a 10-inch bow, but you can make them as big or as small as you want to. So I have my ruler at 10.5 because I left a 1/4-inch seam allowance for both ends, and I'm going to draw across my fabric here at the 10.5 mark. Now the width of my bow, so that it has some volume to it, is 14 inches wide because we are gonna fold this in half and sew it together. So we want to have it twice as wide as we want the final bow. So now I'm going to cut along my marked line here. Okay. And now we have our piece of fabric for the big part of the bow. So to mark out the center of the bow, you need to figure out how wide you want that little piece in the middle to be. I'd like mine to be 1 inch wide. So that means I need to make it 2.5 inches wide when I cut it out because I'm gonna fold it up and sew it up like a little tube. So it's 1 inch for both sides and then a 1/4-inch seam allowance, which is gonna give us 2.5 inches, and I'm going to make it 3 inches long. So we're gonna cut out a piece 2.5 inches wide by 3 inches long. So no matter how wide you want it, just make sure you add that extra 1/2 inch so that way you have a seam allowance. So I've got it down 2.5, I've come down 3, and so now I can just draw straight up from here, and that's gonna be my little piece for the center of the bow. So this is why these make great projects for all your scraps because they don't take that much fabric. There we go. So now you should have a big piece cut out for your bow and a little piece cut out for the center of your bow. Now what we need to do is sew these together. So for the big one, we are going to fold it in half, right sides together. And now when we sew, we're gonna sew up the shorter side, we're gonna sew across the longer side, but we're gonna stop, back stitch, and leave an opening. We're gonna leave a 2-inch opening so we can flip it right side out after. And then we're gonna start here and continue sewing all the way down. And then we'll clip all of our corners and we'll flip it right side out. And then for the little bow center, we're gonna take this one and fold it right sides together. And we're just gonna sew up the long side right here, and then we'll flip it right side out. So let's head over to the sewing machine and sew up a bow. So again, I'm sewing this with a 1/4-inch seam allowance. You could make yours bigger if you like. When you get to the corner, leave your needle in, lift up your foot, and turn. So about halfway up on the side, and then turn your fabric to sew off of the edge. Back stitch and cut. So by sewing off of the edge, you create a really clean turn when we have to turn it later on. And then when we start to sew again, about 2 inches over, we're gonna start from the edge of the fabric, sewing in a 1/4 of an inch, and then leaving our needle in, lifting up our foot and turning. So all the way to the end, back stitch and cut. So now we're moving to the middle of the bow. We're gonna take this little rectangle and fold it so that way we are sewing up the long side. And remember, your seam allowance is a 1/4 inch on this as well. Back stitch at the end and cut. Now that we have those pieces all sewn up, we need to flip them right side out. So first, I'm gonna flip out the little one with a safety pin. So we're gonna take the safety pin and put it through only one side of the opening here. So we need to make sure it's just through one side, otherwise it's not gonna work. And then go ahead and close it up and then take the head of the safety pin and turn it to the inside and go ahead and just push that safety pin out of the other end and pull the fabric down. And then you can go ahead and remove your safety pin. And now we've got the little finished piece for the center of our bow. So go ahead and iron this and it's gonna look great. Next, we're gonna take this big piece and turn it right side out. But first, I want you to clip your corners here. So just a little bit, go ahead, clip off that extra fabric at the corner. It's just gonna make the end of our bow look so much nicer. So now you're gonna find that opening that you left and go ahead and just push it out with your fingers. Okay, so now we basically have what looks like a doll pillow, right? So now what we wanna do is go ahead and iron it all nice and crisp. So we have everything nice and pressed. Our rectangles are looking fabulous. Now we have that little opening here from when we turned it right side out. So you could leave it, it's not really gonna go anywhere. You could slip stitch it, you could give it a little edge stitch. If I was gonna do this, I would just give it a little edge stitch right here. But you really don't have to do anything. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's just gonna be in the back of the bow. So now we have both of our rectangles prepped and it's time to create this bow. So easy, right? So let's give it some life. So what we wanna do is find the center of the bow and then you're going to take it and just scrunch it up with your fingers. And then you're gonna take the little piece, place it down below, and then wrap it around the scrunched up piece of fabric. And now all we're gonna do is just sew these two little pieces together on the sewing machine, or you could hand stitch this as well. So we're just gonna use a straight stitch and stitch these two layers together. Make sure you're back stitching at the beginning and the end. And cut. So we did it. We totally finished creating a bow. So easy, just like that. Think of all the bows you can create with all those scrap fabrics that I know you have. Remember, these make great tops for presents. They make great hair bows, which we're about to attach it to the hair clip. Or you can put them on dresses and clothing that you create as well. Super cute on the shoulder, on the neckline. Possibilities are endless for bows. So to attach the bow to a hair clip, you want to find a clip that has these holes in the ends of it. And what you're going to do is hand stitch the bow where these holes are here. So that way it stays nice and attached. Or you could just run some fabric glue or some hot glue across the top, plop on your bow, and it's good to go. And if you want to hand sew this clip on, make sure you check out my video on hand sewing. Thanks so much for watching Sewing Anastasia today on how to create a fabric bow. I'm just so in love with this right now. And if you have any questions about it, leave it down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, give it some applause, and tell me what you're going to do with your fabric bows. I would love to know. And don't forget to follow Sewing Anastasia and hit that notification bell because new videos come out every single week on something new sewing related. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok because I'm always putting out videos and photos of different projects I'm working on in the studio and pictures and photos of my students in class working on their projects. Speaking of that, make sure you check out all of my classes for in-person and virtual at sewinganastasia.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.